In today's episode, we are talking about one of the challenges that we encountered during a negotiation, specifically when we were asking for a VTB. Stay tuned to find out more about it. Welcome to the next episode of Same Page. We're your hosts, Sarah Simajust.
And I'm Lenard Simajust.
Today we're talking about something we did wrong when we were negotiating a VTB with a seller. It didn't go through, and we want to teach you guys, or at least tell you guys about it, so you guys hopefully can learn from it. So what did we do wrong?
Well, you already alluded to it. We offered a VTB from the jump. One thing that we've learned is that a VTB tends to be an option that usually you tend to throw that in the mix later on in the negotiation.
Yes. And so this time around, there was a realtor involved in the transaction. And in a first offer, we asked for a VTB. And not only the realtor wasn't in agreement with it, but the realtor wasn't willing to educate the seller on what it meant. In the past, we've had deals where the realtor itself was telling the seller what that really meant, and so they kind of educated the seller. And I'm not sure if geared the seller towards accepting it, but it worked to her advantage because there was somebody that they trusted who could explain a VTB.
Exactly.
But in this case, the realtor was already against the VTB. They told us that the brokerage don't do VTBs, and that's another story in itself. I felt like they weren't really representing the seller, because that could have been a good option for the seller, but they decided that right there they weren't going to take it. So in this situation, we wrote an offer, purchase price. They accepted everything, but did not want a VTB, so our offer fell through.
Yes.
And what happened later on when we dropped the deal and we're no longer following it?
And this is like such a great learning tool. So we had someone within our circle who ended up putting an offer on the same property, and he did it properly, as far as initially it was under contract, and then when the when the date to remove the condition was approaching, he felt a little pressure. He felt that maybe he couldn't go through with it. And because he already built a relationship with the seller, he was able to throw in the VTB option. And at that point, now mind you, he was able to do this directly with the seller. So that's one little difference from
without the realtor.
Without the realtor, being the third party. So he was able to educate the seller on the VTB, the pros and cons and whatnot. And because he was able to do it right before he was going to move conditions, he was able to convince the seller to take the VTB.
Yes. So essentially, this strategy sort of works when a seller really wants to sell. They're a motivated seller, and you get the property under contract. Maybe your conditional period is 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever you're buying, and the seller already sees the finish line. They're already, the money's in the bank account. They've already sold the problem.
They've already spent the money.
They've already got rid of the problem that they had. So when you come in at the end of the conditional period, when in their mind they're already set that they're going to sell, and you tell them that you may not be able to remove your conditions and not buy the property, they almost want it to work no matter what. So if you say, well, I will be able to buy it if you give me a VTB, at that point, they're already so far in the transaction that they're most likely to say, you know what, I just want to sell this. Sure, if you're going to waive your conditions, I'll give you the VTB, and we can just call it a done deal. And that's what this buyer ended up doing, and it worked out perfectly. So for us, it was a question of timing.
Exactly.
Rather than offering a VTB first thing, offering it to VTB closer to removing your conditions gives you more leverage to negotiate and for the seller to accept this offer.
Exactly. So that was one of our failures, guys. We definitely want to hear some of the failures that you guys have had in your real estate journey. Please provide a comment. As always, like and subscribe this page. And as always, don't forget to live your truth.